Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out the beta version of an upcoming game called Retrograde. Basically a first-person puzzler casts players into the role of memory assignment technician is what I'm calling it, I suppose, where we're going to go into people's minds and try and move blocks around and change gravity in such a way as to solve the blockage that's giving people amnesia. So it's a kind of an experimental new sort of like the cell treatment for amnesia patients, and essentially I kind of look at this a little bit like a fusion of Portal plus Psychonauts, if you will. It's got its own little mix and twists and things that are a little bit different and strange, so I thought this would be good for an episode, perhaps a little bit more of a traditional episode after yesterday's was quite esoteric, and for those of you who prefer one over the other, well, you know, a little bit for everyone, right? So let's have a quick look at the options and then we'll jump into it. I'll only probably play a little bit into this one because the puzzles do get rather complex later on, and there's just a little bit more adding on every so often. So let's see. Options are pretty basic stuff. We got resolution, windowed full screen, volume has its own slider, mouse sensitivity has its own slider, graphics quality is set to good, which is as good as it gets in this case, and we may as well start it off then. So there's going to be a few sequences of narration with which I will be quiet through. Actually, there's going to be several of those, and I'll do my best to try not to talk over the narrator, but it will eventually get a little bit tiresome, and we'll probably end up just jumping through things because I do want to show off the game, and they do want to take a bit of a measured approach to introducing things at the start. Rest assured, though, it's not particularly complex, although there are a lot of things going on. We'll be able to sort through it pretty well, hopefully. So anyway, let's jump into it. Alright, so we spawn into an office building, and I'm getting a very Stanley Parable vibe from this, which is not always a bad thing. Of course, my first inclination here is to try and see what's physics-enabled by running and jumping and smashing into everything that I can. In this case, it seems like only the chair will bend to my whims. Is there anything going on with this folder? No, there isn't. I should warn you, I have played about 25 minutes or so of this, so I do have a slight idea what's going on here, maybe a little bit more than I should for this point in the game, but I will try not to spoil anything, because, well, honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot I could really spoil. I haven't actually solved the first case, but I have done a little bit of delving into someone's mind. So let's trigger the first audio here.
Hello, and welcome to Retrograde Incorporated. My name is Brett Mitchell, and I'll be your guide during your time here with us. Firstly, I'd like to say, on behalf of everyone here at Retrograde, thank you for volunteering your precious time to help us help others.
Alright, so if listening to that actually unlocks the next door, you can actually take your time and kind of wander about a little bit in the office. It's nice that there's actually a couple of unlocked doors. I always value when that's a thing. I always said if I wanted to make a game, and I understand why people do this for the sake of level design, but I always wanted to have the ability to create a setting in which the player could feel immersed to the extent that every door opens or is manipulatable in some way, not in the Silent Hill kind of way where it's like, oh, we could just cross that off the map and just every door is locked, minus the 2 or 3 that actually have things that are relevant to you, and the only reason the doors are there at all is to make you have some sort of illusion that you're in a functional space.
We started as a small clinic helping people reclaim their memories over 30 years ago. Here at Retrograde, we have held the belief that through our commitment to less invasive retrieval of our patients' inciting memories, as well as teamwork, support, and the help from volunteers like you, we will better the quality of life of those amnesia patients one memory at a time.
I don't know why, but I really like this tiny model version of the desk there. It's also like a nice little depth of field effect that I didn't notice at first, because I hadn't really been zooming into very many things. It doesn't really come into play all that often in the game. How did these folders get here? Did I put those there, or did I knock them over somehow? Maybe they were there already, I don't know. Celebrating 30 years of success. Odd that we're celebrating 30 years of success, and yet, like, I'm one of the first people to have done this, I think. Maybe, unless I misunderstood.
Please report to the sleeping chamber to enter our patented virtual memory recovery unit.
Alright, well that was a bit of a slow burn as I walked around and took a million years, so hopefully we won't be quite as slow getting forward, but I know there are a couple more times when I do have to listen to Brett.
Welcome to our virtual memory recovery unit. Nice, eh? This
Nice,
is how
eh?
I'll be communicating with you while you're volunteering with us. After you complete your training, you'll be on the front lines, entering the memories of patients and helping them weed out through the mess to find the one inciting memory that brought on their amnesia.
I don't know why, but for some reason always seeing like different qualities of chrome or like different patterns like this, I find that very cool looking. Just one of those little quirks of me, I suppose. Oh, I really like that as well. Put a reflective shader on something, I could have a good time just wandering around it. I don't like this one as much as I like those, though, but this is nice, too. Alright, so we got a series of empty rooms. You're probably wondering what these are all about. These are rooms that we will slowly be reassembling a patient's case inside of, I believe. So as we wander about inside of the memories, we will we'll be solving puzzles that'll eventually lead to stuff appearing in these rooms that will make sense later. Hopefully I'll play at least long enough to be able to show you a couple of those.
As a company, we have a strong future ahead of us, and it's all thanks to volunteers like you. Thank you again, and we're excited to have you join our team. Please follow the arrows to the training facility, and good luck.
Good luck. You'll need it. Guy seems very, very chipper. Almost feels like maybe it's too good to be true. I don't know. Foreshadowing much? Alright, so this is the training center. Let us get to the actual business, and this is where I can actually start talking about the game, because so far nothing really critique-worthy has really happened. You know, we walked around a little bit, we listened to a guy talk, but this is where gameplay mechanics actually become a thing. So, we're going to be wandering through some, let's use the word, test chambers, I suppose. Essentially solving one puzzle at a time, revealing new abilities, so to speak, that'll allow us to manipulate things in more effective ways, and hopefully getting a better understanding of how the puzzles are going to be structured going forward. I have to say, my first impression of this area was a lot less strong than the previous area we were in, just because this feels kind of under-designed in terms of, you know, the graphical aesthetic. This is kind of bare bones. You know, basically, we're sitting inside of a cube with a couple of rectangles on it, with another cube cut out with a little cube added there, filled with cubes, and this little thing down here with a hologram sprite on it, which is, you know, it gets the job done, it's functional, but aesthetically not the most pleasing thing I've ever seen. And this is just in beta, so obviously some of this stuff can get worked over or added to or changed. This also here is basically stopping me from taking a cube into the next room. It's kind of strange, but there's a lot of language that you're actually going to take along with you just for having played Portal, and I feel like kind of a jerk making comparisons to it, but it almost seems impossible not to. But I do definitely believe that there are enough things separating this from that really it's not huge. It's just kind of something to bear in mind. So this seems really subtle, you might not even really notice at first, but this wall here is very blue, and this wall here is very orangey yellow. That's actually a thing. Funny that those colors kind of correlate again. I didn't actually even realize that until just now, but that's another Portal thing. This button here, being green, is essentially a button that will lock a cube into place. We can grab a cube, it'll just grab it and stick to it. It's important to note that the cube is blue. I will show you why in a moment. So, blue cubes attract to blue surfaces. Right now we've got a situation where the ceiling and the floor are actually alternating in color, and it's just automated. It's doing that on its own. Now I can pick this up, and since it's blue, it's going to attract to the orange, or rather to the blue side of the ceiling when that switches. So I just need to basically line this up with that button, and provided I get that, yeah, that'll grab it and hold it in place, and there we go. So choose your path wisely, it says. Not exactly sure why I need to choose my path wisely, because if you look down through here, well, we've got 1, 2, oh, and 3, and these are actually all the same place, so I don't know. We've chosen our path, wisely or not, I guess we'll find out later. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can actually go back up there. Maybe there's a secret, because I don't think, well, let's just keep going. Your gravity gun can pick up cubes from any distance. Press E. So this is one of the first of quite a few different gameplay conventions that'll be introduced little by little. And in the time that I spent on this one, there are actually quite a few little conventions that added up over time, to the extent that I started to get a little bit confused as to what I was always supposed to be doing from one moment to the next. So what I can do now, and this is an advanced maneuver that you're not necessarily supposed to know about, is I can use spacebar to latch onto any pink surface, one of these little bubbles here. You can use that to just basically use it as a grappling hook. And then you can also pull cubes from any distance with E, like it just told us prior. Now what I can do here is grab this and apply it to that. And look at that, we found the super special empty storage room. Smarter than 8.3 of 12 volunteers at Retrograde. Jump to claim your prize. Oh no! We're out of stock. That is awkward. Well, you know, it's the thought that counts. At least we gave it a try. Alright, so we'll take this back down. I'm actually kind of floating down on top of that cube by holding it like that, which is kind of funny. I don't know if maybe there's like a PsyOps style way that I can use telekinesis to ride around in this. It's quite possible, but I would probably be breaking things. So aim at purple objects and press space. So I guess when you see that, you're supposed to go, wait a minute. We can do that there. Got it. Alright, well, now I know why I was supposed to know that. So we've grappled up and over, and to the other side. And now what? Let's go up to this one. Again, pretty basic geometry everywhere I'm looking here. This is all just kind of squares and squares, bare stuff. But let's just drop that into place. Cool different style door just opens up, and this signals the end of a, well, I don't know if we should call this a chapter or just a, you know, mini sub-level or something. So let's jump in. And this will bring us back to the lobby area. Usually we...
Welcome back, and congratulations
you'll
on
talk
finishing your training. It's me, your Supreme Ruler. Just kidding. It's me, your old buddy Brent. Aren't you glad?
A little heavy-handed there.
You are now ready to achieve your first assignment and help make a difference in a person's life.
Are you as psyched as I am? We're gonna go into somebody's head.
No, before entering into the mind of a complete stranger, like who they are. So, here's a scoop on your first assignment. This is Nancy Martin. She's 63 years old and lost her memory about 3 months ago. She loves clock dancing, tchotchkes, and watching 90s game shows. Oh, and there's one more thing. As a liability, I must inform you that entering the mind of a person can cause problems such as heart failure, mental illness, dropout, robbing, illegal possession of your first-mind child, if you inherit the ability to enter someone's mind with other equipment, like stool, blurred vision, respiratory problems, and any other problems that you may think was related to you volunteering at this time today. We want to remind you that you volunteered on your own to be here, that we cannot and will not take any responsibility for any of the above aforementioned problems and or issues that may or will occur. That being said, have fun and enjoy.
Kind of a strange way to phrase that. Have fun and enjoy. Why exactly did I volunteer to do this? Like, what's my motivation as a character to want to do this after they tell me, like, all those horrible things could happen to you? I don't know. Maybe it's just for the sake of exploration and experimentation. You know, science must be done and all that. So, we can click on surfaces to shift gravity. This is basically the central premise of the whole game, and the most important element so far that we've added to our repertoire. So let's click on that surface. You'll see the square shifts over there, the cube shifts rather. You can see it just keeps changing depending on where I put it. You know, it's definitely living up to its name, being able to shift gravity. So let's do one of these. We'll drop that there and do like that, and all of a sudden it has grabbed the cube. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so now we've got another situation. While holding a cube, click to throw. We've got a series of buttons with arrows leading to a door. I think you could probably piece together what this is all about, and we'll start to add a little bit more in the way of ornamentation. This is a very large table, but I'm going to say since we're a figment of someone's imagination, essentially, right now, the scale probably is not super important. So we need to grab and move cubes around. Let's do the first task here, which is to press this button. I probably want to assign gravity to this wall so it stays there, and that'll reveal yet another cube. Now we can toss it up in the air, and toss it a little bit better. There we go. Now that we've gotten the cube out of the wall, we don't need this one anymore, so we can actually grab this and bring it back, and we'll just toss that right up with the other one. Beautiful. Door has opened. Problems have been solved. This is actually much shorter than the prior one, but that's just because they're introducing one new element, a topic at a time.
Hi again. I bet you're wondering why that table and chair has appeared. Well, this is part of the memory retrieval process. You know, as the saying goes, congratulations! You have received your first keystone to finding Nancy's inciting memories. As you go on your journey to find the inciting memories, more and more keystones will appear until the inciting memories is fully retrieved.
As the saying goes, congratulations. Alright, let's go in. Round 2. And we've got another element. So as you've probably noticed, this block is yellow in color and not blue. What we can do now is we can actually reverse the blue and the yellow, and that just took care of that whole thing. So we can right-click to shift gravity in the reverse direction. I guess we were just meant to kind of like figure that out by clicking on the floor there, and then it would just kind of swap. So what we need to do now is get one of these guys over on this button. Well, probably like that one should go over there. You're gonna, yep, you're good. And let's grab this one, put it up there, and beautiful. So far, so good. Pretty easy stuff. A little intimately lit dinner area over in the corner for some reason. I kind of wish I could play with the physics of these things as well for whatever reason, just to kind of mess with stuff. There's not enough, like, outside-the-box stuff going on yet, but it does get better, trust me. As we get further into the game, there are more strange objects and happenings going on, and the geometry becomes a little bit more interesting. So, as you probably remember, these will delete any blocks that are carried through them, so I'm sure you've already figured out what to do with this puzzle. Basically, just carry that up to there. Well, probably want to, like, give it a little bit of a throw. That way I can actually grab it and retrieve it from the other side without vaporizing it in the process. And we'll just kind of reverse that under there. And we just kind of carry it through the end. Where is our button? There's our button. Brilliant! Another door is opened, and another chapter has been conquered. Loading screen just said, "You're perfect and I love you." Isn't that nice? Alright, let's keep going. We're starting to get somewhere, and soon the puzzles will become a little bit more elaborate and start having a few more elements.
And according to national labor laws, we are required to give you one. So, here's a new piece of art you can play around with.
Here's a new piece of art you can play around with. Well, you're very much in luck, because you've got just the right person right here that appreciates a piece of art that I can play around with. But I gotta say, vast majority of people probably see that and not play around with it at all. Probably might just even ignore it entirely. Anyway, that was a nice break we just had. Let's go on to the next zone. I have a feeling you're starting to get the idea about how this premise works, and how it could become a lot more complex. Alright, so now we're going to be adding purple cubes into the mix. So we've got blue, we've got yellow, and now we've got purple. Purple, as you already probably realized, are things that allow us to grapple to them. So we can basically just grab this, carry it over here, use the gravity switching mechanic to raise it up to the ceiling, and then use spacebar to launch ourselves into the air. You can't really get much in the way of momentum out of it, unfortunately. It's kind of just the way it's going to be for the moment, that you can just kind of suction yourself directly to it, but not do a lot else. And, well, that kind of missed, but I'm not sure that it had to necessarily be dead on. I could always make adjustments after the fact. And this is kind of interesting. Now we've got some, like, MC Escher weird perspective stuff going on. Just kind of grapple over to there, or, you know, almost fell down. So very low down into this pit, we've got just like another dinner setting for some reason. And let's follow this through another one of those blocker areas, and now looks like we've entered a zone that's going to require maybe slightly more thought than the prior ones. Green buttons hold cubes in place regardless of gravity direction. We've already figured that out. That was one of the first things we figured out. So let's start throwing things into place here, grabbing cubes and doing things with them. What do we have for buttons? It looks like we've got a total of 3 and 2 cubes to go around, maybe. So let's see. We've already kind of solved... Oop, wrong kind of gravity for that. We've already kind of solved this in another puzzle, so this isn't really particularly shocking as to how to get through this one. Didn't really need that anymore, so there you go. What is this, by the way? Is this just part of the memory, I suppose? I've kind of liked a little bit more explanation as to what the giant window is doing. But anyway, we've gotten through another one of those. Oh, does it add it to the space when I walk back in? Oh, yeah, it does. I didn't even realize it was on the wall there. So each one of these is one fragment, as it actually had said earlier. So now instead of just a bare table and plates, we've got the candelabra, we've got the, you know, the knife and fork and spoon, and the window, of course. Yes, I forgot the name of cutlery. That's a thing. Moving on. I think we'll do a couple more here.
You may notice that as you go deeper and deeper into the patient's memory, things may get a little freaky. Just remember, you agree to all the terms and conditions, probably without reading them. Oh, by the way, if you value your life, don't touch that interesting red substance. It's just a small, tiny, minor, fatal glitch in our system. So don't touch it.
Yeah, you're really making this kind of telegraphed, aren't you, how this is going? Well, I kind of would have figured it out regardless. But anyway, level 4. What do we have here? So we've got another series of buttons, a blue cube suspended in the air, a whole bunch of doors, and this force wall here, which we're going to have to use some very minor and very simple tactics to get around. So we're going to pop this sucker in here, or I can just cheat. I don't think what I just did is supposed to have happened. Maybe I just held on to it the whole time, actually. What I thought you were meant to do is to just activate the wall opposite with blue, or, you know, by the same extension, use yellow on that wall, and grab it as it flies through. Anyway, that's not what happens. So let's pop one of these up on the wall here. Maybe like that. And what does that do? That went over to that door. Now let's see if we can get the second cube to that part. And look at that, we've got another cube. All of a sudden, we have enough cubes to do a thing. Now let's just swap these suckers out to their opposite ends. Probably should like transform the wall before I pick up the cube, but I'm not the brightest cookie here. Pardon my idiom. There we go, that should do it. Grab one more of these and toss it on the button. And look at what we have here. All of a sudden, something with a little bit of a juicy texture going on. This is that red material that they were talking about earlier. It's a little disconcerting, to be sure. It's very, very bumpy looking. It's got a lot of unsharp mask quality to it. So we've got more place settings, we've got more dinner parties happening. But what are we meant to do about this? One touch of this sends us back to the checkpoint, so clearly we're not going to be able to make a jump this large. Thankfully, I know what we're supposed to do already, so we don't have to ponder too long about this. What we can do, though, is something like this. I forgot we actually had to turn it in 2 steps. No? Okay, actually I forgot what I'm supposed to do, so never mind. That's okay, that's it. So each one of these has its own charge, and essentially we're just going to be turning ourselves about by using the charge on the walls. Now I've got to grab this cube over there, which is not active yet. It is white, so it is neutral. And we'll do one of those. Grab that, and we should be able to just pop this over to the wall that way, and then we don't have to... Hey, oh, maybe I actually need this. Maybe I should have carried it with me, to be perfectly honest. Hopefully I don't end up screwing this up. Well, you know what? I can grab it from here, can't I? There we go. Now we can grab that and pop it on there. And we've got another cool door opening. And that'll take us to our goal. Actually running through these in quick order. Not sure how much more I want to show you here. I mean, we've got... Now the chandelier has been added to the scene. I can't imagine there's too many more steps before we've solved it, but I know there's at least one more. Does it give us another break at this point? Oh yeah, second piece of art.
Your second mandatory break. Your time starts now.
Oh. Yeah, so you can kind of see where this is all going. I think it's fairly obvious. I have some pretty positive impressions, honestly, of Retrograde. I think they did a good job to create new styles of puzzles in, you know, what feels like a kind of a worn-out genre. It's a thing that I think I've seen a variety of different, you know, execution styles on. I mean, there was even one literally about magnetism before, but this is actually more oriented towards the idea of gravity. And now we've actually got something entirely different going on. We've got lasers, we've got this gross flesh pool stuff down here, we've got floating candles, and, you know, all of a sudden, the architecture is becoming a bit more interesting. Now, where I think it becomes a bit of an issue, though, is when you get into too much intricate platforming, I feel like could be a little annoying. This is nothing particularly to, you know, be too worked up about, but I have a feeling, well, if things continue to get harder, we might end up in a position where some of the platforming might be a little bit janky and frustrating. Well, I'm going to hope that that isn't the case, but I just could see it happening in the future. Oh, kind of botched that one. Let's pull it back a little bit. Should be able to... Yeah, there we go. Pull that right up, and the cool thing about these lasers, and you've probably already figured this out the second you saw them, the cool thing is that we can actually use the boxes to block them. I believe as long as they're blue. I don't know, maybe that's not the case. I haven't actually tried with a yellow one, but that's going to be the next element entirely, is that we get to kind of reformat what the blocks might be made of, and all of a sudden there's a little bit more going on in here. So yeah, these are the various colored jellies that we can carry this through. What does it say? Did you remember to bring your cube? Of course I did. What would I do if I couldn't? Oh, I guess I would go back, because there's actually a grapple point up there. Oh, did I bring the cube just then? No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. I think the game is at its strongest when it's kind of messing with your perception a little bit, because, you know, some of these rooms are just fairly basic. Feels like you'll get the hang of them quite quickly, and I hope it goes in the direction of being more screwy like this. I think this is a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of potential in this as well. So what am I supposed to do here? We've got more buttons to put things on the wall. I mean, I feel like we've kind of gone over this premise a number of times, so it's good that they're adding more elements. I just hope that it doesn't end up getting convoluted by having too many elements. So I probably want to color this one yellow. Drag this over here. Pop that on the wall. Nope, wrong gravity. Did I miss? Oh, no, we're fine. Grab that, pop it up, pop it up. There we go. And we've opened that, and now there is like a waterfall cascade of yellow happening here. Anyway, I think you kind of get the idea, I would hope, of Retrograde. I think there's good things in the works for this one. I definitely think the art style could use a little bit more polish as it, you know, pertains to the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, but I think it's quite fun. And I hope that the story ends up developing into something maybe a little bit less cliche, not to be rude to the developers. I think it does have promise, of course. But right now I feel like we're kind of following in lockstep with the Portal formula, which, you know, they've got to know that. And I'm sure they'll subvert that at some point as well. So, you know, what is this evil AI going to do to us now? I don't even know. We're going to get trapped in someone's memories and then have to find our way out, and I'm hoping they've got an interesting plan about it. But yeah, now that we've gotten to a more psycho-Nazi portion of things, I think this is, you know, a good moment for you to realize, you know, what's going on here. We've got some cool geometry and things could get better from that. Anyway, go ahead and grab this one if you'd like to go check it out yourself. I'm not sure how much more there is left to try in this demo. I imagine we at least probably finished the first mission, and that is this is about where I got to in my play prior, only I did it a lot faster this time. So I'm not sure. Oh, I'm standing on this candle now. That's nice. But yeah, I'm not sure how much more there is left to do. I'd be happy to hear if you guys want to weigh in, though, after you give this a try. Let me know what you think of the conventions, the puzzles in general, what you think about the story, the presentation, the art style, the music. By the way, I didn't mention the music is quite nice throughout this whole thing. I've had nothing bad to say about the audio presentation, except for maybe some of the voice acting was a little bit weird, but I think he was just being very enthusiastic, and I don't know, maybe some of those lines will get reread or what, or maybe it's just part of the character. I'm not sure. I'm not the developer. I don't have the vision, unfortunately, although I have my own ideas, I'm sure. Oh, there's little windows on these plates. Isn't that nice? They look like little chocolate bars or something, I thought. What do these have? Chandeliers. Those are little grapple points for some reason. I guess if we want to grapple onto these, we can do so. And then the one in the center doesn't have anything. Anyway, that's going to do it for another day's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, link's going to be in the description for this. I think there's every platform available for this, as well as definitely go leave a vote on Greenlight if you enjoyed what you saw in this game. Helps out the developer and helps him get onto Steam, hopefully. And of course, if you enjoyed the video too, make sure you leave a like, because that does help out me as well if you're interested in doing such a thing. Be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day, so I look forward to bringing you another one then. And I will look out for any other games in a similar genre, of course. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I do read every single one of them still to this day. So, you know, have some dialogue, have a good time, enjoy the game, and thank you everybody for watching. I will catch you all tomorrow.